Well, hi, boys and girls. Hi, and mummies and daddies, and all the rest of you.
Ships at sea.
In all the ships at sea, right? Just like, was it Walter Winchell?
Yeah.
Say
You know,
that.
exactly,
Yeah.
ships at sea.
Mr. and Mrs. America and all the ships at sea. Well, it's great to be back with you again. We have a veritable bushel barrel of things to talk about, and so let's just get right into it.
Okay.
I am really talked off.
No.
Yep. We're going to hell in a handbasket.
Damn quick, too.
Yes. And I say to myself, you know, what's the definition of idiocy?
Doing the same thing over and over and expect a different outcome.
Exactly. So when I get in the car by myself and I'm going to the gym or something, 20-minute ride, okay? Guess what I turn on?
What?
Sports talk show. And I go through the roof at the idiocy, not only of the
But you do it every time.
I know it.
I know it.
Yeah.
That's.
Not just the callers, though.
Oh, I
The
know.
hosts. The language is unbelievable. Now, at the risk of being offensive,
We've never worried about that in
no,
the past.
trying
So
to
that's
present a new image, but it ain't working. Somehow or other, freaking is now an acceptable term, even though we know it has its genesis as a substitute for the
Yeah, of
FU
course.
word. Okay? And then, of course, we also have friggin'.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's another substitute for it.
Same thing.
These guys won't say the FU word. They got no backbone. They're spineless worms. But yet, they run this other vernacular past us. Oh, yeah. And it's. And there's one guy that the most offensive of all is the guy that keeps reporting the Lord's name in vain. Okay? I pray to Jesus Christ. I don't feel like listening to him take his name in vain on a stupid sports show that is totally tasteless.
Well, it's tasteless. That is
And where the hell is the management of this radio station? I'll tell you what, this is a highly rated show, okay? And they're interested in the ratings and the ad revenue.
well, which one translates into the other.
That's exactly right. So I say to myself, I can't stand listening to these people. I'm going berserk over this. And what do I do the next time I get in the car?
You just answered your own questions.
I've gone around the bend.
No, you're not going around a bend. You did exactly what they thought you were going to do. It was going
So I go to the other station, the other sports show. I don't have any hair to pull out, but they're almost as bad.
Remember when Howard Stern was on regular radio? People either loved him or they hated him.
Yeah.
But millions of people turned in. My wife asked me one time, and I gave the exact answer that I heard 100 times. Why do you listen to that idiot? You know he's just self-centered, egotistical blowbag.
Yeah.
I said, because I want to hear what he's going to say next.
Yeah.
What kind of subject is he going to blow up and start a controversy over? Well, he's doing that on purpose to get schmucks like me to listen. And everybody would listen to him.
On.
Oh, yeah.
I refuse to listen to Howard Stern. I listened to him one morning describe graphically sexual activity of a deviant nature. And I said to myself, I can't believe this. Where is the FCC? I mean, I just said, that's it. Shut it off. And I'm hardly a prude. But I always was much happier listening to Imus in the morning.
I used to listen to Imus
Yeah,
also.
I loved Imus.
I liked his brother.
Oh, Fred.
Yeah.
I used to like him when he get going on the two assistants there.
Yeah.
The technician and the other guy.
Is he still alive?
Imus? No,
Yeah.
he passed away
He
about
passed away?
3 years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I used to like Imus.
You know that Blue Buffalo dog food?
Yeah.
That was his brother's idea years ago. It was
Really?
that was the name of it too, Blue Buffalo.
There was some interesting interplay between him and
Oh,
his
yeah.
brothers.
Brother used to play the kind of the dunce.
Yeah. Yeah. He used to always make up some crazy story for
Yeah.
the weekly call to talk to him. But they were not tasteless.
No, they weren't.
Now, which brings me to point number 2. Look at the headlines this morning.
Oh, jeepers. Speaking of which,
Belichick F blank blank ED us. Okay? The Boston Herald. Quite a choice of a headline. I don't know.
but it
really
got your
and truly-
attention, didn't it? It got your attention.
Yeah. Yeah, and so did the fact that the substitute delivery person this morning only single bagged my newspapers, and there was a hole also in it.
I get that once in a while.
Yeah, and it got the spine here was all wet, but the rest of it was all right. So I got one more headline for you.
All right.
Kid gloves.
I saw
Uh,
her at, or I don't know.
Her daughter.
Yeah, Clark's daughter.
Yeah. I'm so glad
Clark,
that.
I'm not sure. I get real confused about son slash daughter slash. I don't know what the hell else.
Yeah, he was arraigned under his male name.
Jared,
But
I think it was.
his daughter person.
So
thing,
apparently it's a he, thinking it's a she.
presenting as a she.
Yeah.
But dressed as a he.
As a he, dressed
So
as a
I'm
he. That's what I
confused.
said too. I said, wait a minute, that must be a she wanting to be a he. But I find out now it's a he wanting to be a she, but dressing like a he.
And acting like a criminal.
Yeah, I see.
Assaulting a police officer.
I,
But so the bottom line, I think, really is, I wonder what his punishment is going to be.
nah, nothing.
No, is this one of these things that the Attorney General is going to get involved in?
You'll
And
just look
it'll
the-
go right to the bottom of the pile, and that'll be the end of
He'll
that.
do one of them contingencies. We'll leave it there for 6 months. If nothing else comes up, it'll be expounded from the record.
He's acting properly now.
course.
He's learned his lesson and does not need to be punished.
Yeah.
But some kid from South Boston that did the same thing
Yeah.
would be arraigned and would find himself in
Oh yeah.
jail for 90 days or
Oh
6
yeah.
months,
There's
and have a record for the rest of his life.
there's no question about there's different standards of how people are treated.
I'm so happy that this Clark woman decided to come to Massachusetts and leave Colorado.
Yeah, we're so fortunate with some
we're
of these
so
people.
much richer for her. She came, ran for office, and I don't know. It must be magic. I got a bunch of other things too that I'm crazy about this morning. I have decided I'm going to do something very crazy. And I'm going to put this note to myself right on the front of the folder. But I'm going to go to the library and find a book by William Faulkner and try to read it again.
Speaking of which, did you know the status of the library? Is it open, or are they still
I think it's
working?
still closed.
Still closed.
Yeah, I'm going to try to read a Faulkner book. I tried it once before.
It was never my
About
favorite.
4 pages in,
Yeah.
I just said to myself, this doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Oh,
I'm going to try it again, though, as I read something about Faulkner and his brilliance and all that. So I just got a couple of 3 brief things here.
Okay,
And
okay.
then we'll,
I got a crap load of.
yeah, I want to get into your crap load of stuff. So I've been toying with the idea of buying some Toyota stock. Mainly, you know what? I have never bought an automotive stock or an airline stock.
I have
I
not,
refuse to
not
do
just straight up. I
Yep.
mean, I got them in.
Well, in mutual funds.
Mutual funds,
Yeah,
yeah.
You got no choice. But I've never done it. But Toyota made a very interesting statement in a press conference not too long ago that they are not going to go headlong into the EV business.
Yep. Yeah, they're holding back.
That they are going to continue along with what they consider to be the sane path, and that is hybrids
Yep.
and gas-powered vehicles.
I think that's smart. That's smart.
I think it's very smart.
I don't think Dodge is going to go through with their. By the end of this model year, they're going to quit internal combustion.
I hope they don't. I hope they keep building it. That's a hell of a V8 engine they have there.
Yeah, well, they got some monsters.
Yeah. And Dodge right now, the Ram is a top-rated pickup truck. And their sales now are second to Ford. It would seem to me that part of it is the fact that that is a really good engine. My brother-in-law is on his second or third Dodge, I forget. And he gets the one with the big V8,
Yep. The Hemis.
the Hemi. Yeah. The 5.9, I think it is, liter. And he drives like I drive, like an old lady. No fast acceleration,
Yeah.
no abrupt braking. He, excuse me, averages 20 miles to the gallon around town with that big pickup truck.
Yeah, they're notorious for not.
Yeah,
For mileage.
I mean, most people would probably be happy with 15 to
Yeah.
16 around town with a Ram. He gets 20. It's a very, very nice vehicle. I hope Dodge does not drop that engine. That would seem to me to be a serious mistake.
That would be.
But
Not that I'm going to buy one. My days of high performance fire breathers are long over.
whoa, gone. But you know what? For some people, they make a lot of sense.
Yep. I had to have one, and
You have to have one.
yeah, I kind of worked up to it. Went from a 348 Chevy
Yep.
to a 327 high performance Chevy to a SS 396. And then that was it. Well, of course, I got married too. That kind of could put the kibosh
Now,
on
it
that.
seems to me the Chevy had one, the 409.
Well, the 409 was a 348 bored out.
Okay, yeah.
Those were older engines. That was their first high. 348 was a truck engine, and it was. I had it in a '60 Chevy, which was the second year they had the 348. They didn't have a performance engine at that time when everybody was coming out, so they said, "Well, we'll take the big old 348 out of the truck, put it in, adapt it to the vehicle." It still had the truck characteristics, which was very low RPM, but tons of torque.
At the bottom end.
At the
yeah.
bottom end, you could it was a 4-speed. You could start out in third gear. You didn't even have to go to first or second. You could just
throw a
kind of get it
rope around
going right up.
stumps and pull them with
Yeah,
the damn thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
But then they went into like a 62 and stuff. There was a 409,
Yeah.
which was just the 348. They bored out a
up,
little
yeah.
more, bigger pistons. And
I don't think they went any bigger than that, did they? Or did they?
427.
Oh, 427.
Yeah, they had-
All right. Forgot about that one.
Corvette started using the 427.
That's right.
The C something was, I forgot what the engine designation was. It was a good engine, but it was pretty much a.
Do you know I have had a bunch of used cars. I just buy used cars, except for company cars. But the best engine, well, I get two of them, I guess. But I bought a '72 Pontiac Catalina with the 400,
Yep.
which was the 350.
Again, yep.
Best engine I think I ever had in an automobile. Oh, there's plenty of get up and go. Mileage was okay, but talk about quiet and smooth. Boy, that was a dandy.
Yeah.
And I had an old Pontiac Bonneville, 66, with the 389 4-barrel. That was peppy, to say the least. And a nice engine. But about 12 miles to the gallon was about it with that baby.
Yeah, that was a problem with some of those.
Yeah.
But and again, I never knew why, and I'm sure the General Motors did know why they were doing it, but I could never figure out why. Inside General Motors hierarchy, why every different emblem, every different Chevy, Pontiac, Oldsmobile, Buick, all had different engines. Why were
Identity,
Ford
the
was all the
people-
same, Chrysler was all the same.
They felt if they could differentiate
Yeah.
between their models, they could
Oh, yeah.
sell more of them. And they would have, well, the Oldsmobile competes with the Chrysler or with the Mercury or something like that. So they wanted to be able to get at market segments. Well, it got very costly.
Very costly.
Yeah. But you know what? Like Buick, they had Dynaflow
Yeah.
as an automatic transmission. I'm sure they could have saved money if they put the hydromatics in it. But it was a smooth,
Oh yeah, it was.
quiet, aunt and uncle kind of car, you know? So that was the segment they were looking to sell to. Chevy was your basic car. Pontiac was a performer.
Yeah, Pontiac did have the idea of the performance.
Yeah. Chevy, Pontiac, Buick was for the old folks.
Oldsmobile was-
I should reverse that. Oldsmobile was another peppy car. Then the Buick, and then
yeah,
the
Cadillac.
Cadillac. You know, a very interesting story that the Buick, when they brought out their four-seater,
Thunderbird?
Riviera.
Oh, Riviera.
Buick
Yeah,
Riviera.
That was one of the first front-wheel drive cars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you know, and I read an interesting article the other day about it, that was never intended to be a Buick product. It came out of GM development,
Yeah.
and you know what that was going to be?
No.
LaSalle 2.
Really?
Yeah, they were going to drag out the LaSalle name, baby Cadillac. Yeah, and I wonder what sort of products that line might have developed
I don't
on their
know.
own, too.
The end that product was coming from that Riviera, and that group was coming from Australia.
From Holden. That's
Yeah.
a company they had down there, yeah.
But I know they tried that front-wheel drive. I mean, the racing people got all excited. It didn't work. They couldn't keep it. The rear end kind of just like
Kept
whipping around.
wandering.
They just couldn't make it work.
I know my first couple of times with some front wheel drive stuff in the snow was
Oh,
interesting.
you had to be careful.
Oh, shoot. Anyway, so Toyota, I'm saying to myself, I should buy some of that stock. That's a company that is headed in the right direction, not going to get carried away in this hysteria about EVs. They should be capturing more market share as Ford and GM go towards the EVs and drop the gas-powered sedans.
Because they're going to pick some. They're going to get back the
Yeah,
fossil fuel people.
exactly.
that are
So-
not ready to make a switch.
So-
You're right. It's smart. It's smart move.
I think. However, Tesla this morning released their sales figures.
Yep.
They get margins in the 30s. Car manufacturers are thrilled if they get 6% margins.
Right.
They said in the news briefing that Tesla's margin was 7 times the margin of Toyota. That would put Toyota down around 5%.
Yeah. Well, look at it stands to reason. Number one, it's a new automotive company. Look at the assembly lines on Tesla. Practically untouched by human hands. Almost all robotics. And good robotics. It's not like it's
Yeah.
crap. State of the art. Everything is efficient. The buildings themselves are practically energy
Put
self-efficient.
8 football stadiums inside one of their factories.
everything is well thought out.
Yeah.
So its cost of manufacturing will be less. And I don't know this for a fact. I don't have figures, but I think just logically looking at it, not the R&D cost, but production. Once you're in business, the electric motor has got to be a hell of a lot cheaper than a gas engine with all those moving parts and all those gears and cogs and everything else that goes on it.
The battery
The batteries
is
right
the
now.
big problem. The cost of the batteries is
Yep.
going straight up. You know, as we run out of some of the component parts we need to make a battery, some of the raw material.
Right. That's good.
And of course, the producers of it, the countries that have that kind of stuff,
Are not
guess
a-
what they're doing with the prices?
Well, of course, because they got you.
Yep, you've got no choice.
Yep.
But Tesla, it also released some talk that they are working on another major car line. And they're going to bring it out. It's going to be smaller and roughly half the price of their cheapest model. I'll tell you what, Dwayne, if they bring it out at half the price, and it's the quality of the Tesla right now, they're going to have so many orders, they're not going to know what
They
to do
won't
with
be
them.
producing.
So I rethought Tesla, and I bought some defense stock instead.
Yeah, my son, it's making artillery shells
Yeah.
right now.
Oh boy, let me tell you, that dial.
I don't know who makes them, but whoever it is.
Yep. The Fidelity has a mutual fund, Select Defense and Aerospace, that when we have had moments like this, because there's a limited amount of stocks in their portfolio. Maybe they have 18, 20, 25 stocks in their portfolio, and they all jump. So we'll see what happens. By the by, what do you make of this kerfuffle down in Washington about finding secret documentation in
I was going to talk
Trump's area, in his house, in the president's?
About, yep. Not a vice president.
yeah,
a former
Pence.
vice president.
Yep.
Bill, I am totally confused. Now,
Well,
I know, that's amazing.
We're supposed to be helping people that are confused.
No, here's why my confusion. Age, I think. Time has gone by me. Time has gone by both of us.
Yep.
Back, and I'm going to relate some things to you back in the early to mid 60s, 50 some years ago.
Lay them on me.
Things weren't like this. Right now, I think, and I know our public library has more control over their books than the United States government has got control over its top secrets. And things weren't like that years ago. Everything was accounted for. I could not believe how Mr. Trump could be sitting with, I don't know, pick a number, 100, 250, 10, top secret, top echelon information, and no one really knew it. Or if they did, they weren't sure where it was.
Well, as president, he has access to all that
Yes,
stuff.
but also they were trailed. They were documented. Not the documents. The documents themselves were trailed. You, as Mr. President Crane, gets a whatever it is for your briefing and stuff, and it's on your possession. You or one of your assistants has signed for that document. In those days, they actually signed it. At the end of the time, and you gave it to somebody else, that other person you left a paper trail.
Yeah.
They knew where that was, and they wanted that back.
Sure.
They kept a log. And those things, it was everything mechanical, everything by hand.
Yeah.
And you think, well, geez, it must be a lot easier now with just digitally. But they lost control of it. They had to. They don't know who's got what or where it is. They don't know things are missing. And if you got caught, I don't say a president, but if an individual
Sure.
had a document or but sometimes it wasn't documents. I got involved with it was a plan set one time from Germany, probably where you were, where there was of some highly technical and confidential or secret radar system that they were using against in those days it was East Germany and West Germany, right at the border. Well, they went crazy. And the guy got hung for it, happened to be in my area in Ohio, and the investigation came to my area because they thought that's maybe where he was, but that's here nor there. The thing was, they knew where that went. They knew exactly who had it, who should, all because of the paper trail. It was a lot of paper, a lot of signing this and signing that, but it worked. You know, the military, they had a way of doing stuff. It wasn't always the best, but it worked at the end of the day. Something has happened to the system. It's broken down.
I know. I drove for a general one morning. He flew in. His division, parts of his division were playing war games.
Yep.
I was in the 7th Army Training Center in Germany, folks, an area about 7 or 8 miles wide and about 20 miles long, called Hohenfels. And combat troops would come in and they would play war games. And they would shoot the place up, and they'd haul tanks out and put them in place so that they could shoot them and all this kind of good stuff. And I drove for a general that came in to see his guys in action. I had to pick them up at a little rinky-dink airport, and a Jeep, and bring them out to the firing site, out to the observation post, which was kind of up on a ridge. It was neat. And he said to me, we were talking, he said, "Where you from?" "Massachusetts." He says, He says, "And how you enjoying the Army?" I said, "It's okay. It's okay, sir. You know, not bad at all. I'm very lucky to be here on this post. It's interesting." I said, "It makes the time go by." He said, Good to hear it." He says, "You sound like a smart young man." I said, "Well," he said, "smart enough to keep his mouth shut about what he's going to see today." I says, "Yes, sir." But he made no bones about it.
Oh, yeah.
That you're going to see some stuff out here that we don't want anybody talking about. One of it was, I guess some people knew about this, but the guide-by-wire
the missile system.
missile systems. Yeah, I was like 30 feet behind the guy that was doing this.
Yeah, these were like Star Wars stuff when it came out.
Yeah. And this thing zigs and zags and boom, hit the tank, you know? It was really good.
But I was surprised when I heard that the archives people now take care of this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, to me, I don't know. See, because
Clerks.
archives, when I was around, they made sure that they had the president's sweater to save this sweater for the museum, and his dishes, the set of dishes that Kennedy ate off here. They saved that.
Yeah.
They didn't have anything to do with classified information. Now, admit there is a lot, and it was, and probably still is, of information classified that should never be classified.
It
Has no sense at all.
That's right. Now, Mike Pence immediately told people what it was they found in his house. When he went on trips, he would have a binder, a folder, whatever it was, and he would keep everything to do with the trip in there, including his written comments about President Dwayne Weiss of Czechoslovakia, or President Humbug of Germany, and it would be for the people at his operations to put into a permanent form. That's the classified stuff that they found in his place. He said, I had these binders. He said, I wasn't even aware that stuff was in there.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of stuff, that's not national secrets.
No,
it could
it's
be
not.
embarrassing, however.
It could be.
Yeah, but I'm not so sure that needs to be
Even
top secret.
Everything that we did just about got stamped confidential. That was a
Right,
catch-all.
confidential, right.
That was a catch-all.
Yep.
Reports to go back on somebody's security investigation. There was nothing in there. Yeah, Johnny was a good boy. He went to school and he didn't he didn't burn the flag and he didn't kill anybody, and you recommend him. Yeah, it would get stamped confidential. And they were doing that just, I think, just to the fact that it's stamped confidential, so somebody will pay attention to it.
You're right.
It's not a piece of garbage that you got to throw away, because somebody's got to read this and make a decision on it.
Right.
And it got to be a catch-all. I mean, they even classified my auto reports at the end of the month for the group. We had cars, and so at the end of the month, we summarized all the mileage made, all the maintenance that's done, how many oil changes were done, everything. All that report would get a class confidential. Oh, who cares?
What if the Mexicans ever found out about how many miles per gallon?
Or Shell found out that we were doing that much business at Mobil for good Lord, it got stupid.
Yeah.
But it's just the way they did it.
I had a file system. Well, some of it was all up in my head, but and I'd put customers, customer inquiries, customer complaints, and miscellaneous. Yeah, that's the confidential stamp. Miscellaneous covers all the unknown sins.
And we had a choice of what area of intelligence you wanted to go to. Now, I wanted counterintelligence, but I did not want the administration part of it. There was guys that were equivalent to a CPA.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They would go into these places and they would take their document files and their logs and they would sit and examine them, and they'd say, oh, this is a violation here, or where is this document there? They'd ask you to go get it, I didn't want anything to do with it. I wanted to be out
drinking beer.
Yeah, drinking beer, and when I was done, I was 200 miles from my next supervisor.
Right.
But some guys wanted that kind of a situation, so the only time I ever really got into it, I did an audit for the local air base in Youngstown. Because, believe it or not, now this was a stretch also, they had these old paratroop planes, these twin boom things in Korean War, I guess they were. But they were listed as nuclear capable of going and picking up nuclear bombs and bringing them to the site to load them on B-52s. So they had documents, procedural documents. And they would fuss every 6 months when they're going to go to get an audit. oh, what if those files are right or wrong? Or said, so I said, well, they asked me if I'd come and look at them to see if I saw anything that was out. I said, no, there's nothing here. I didn't know half of what the code numbers didn't mean anything to me. And but it would, they were concerned about it. Everybody was concerned in a military base when this audit would come in. But that's how tight they controlled the documentation.
The flow of paper, yeah.
Now, we had nothing to do with the civilian end of it. That was a whole different end. But I just couldn't believe it got that loose. Because I know in Trump's case, they showed pictures of it. Some of these things were right up top echelon. And I don't believe that up front there was any nefarious intention there.
Don't you think it was just sloppy handling of?
Partly, and with Trump, I think it's ego.
Well, yeah.
Someday he could say, "Hey, look at I got." That was.
Yep. In Pence's case, he stood right up and said, "Look, this is what it is."
Yeah.
Okay? But President Biden has not answered one question about
he tried
stuff.
to dodge first.
Yeah.
He took a page out of Trump's book, dodge, deny. That's his. But,
that little lady that's his spokesman, she's, I think, on a short leash.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that there's probably going to be a push. I wouldn't be surprised, bipartisan push to get her out of there. People are tired of her act.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she's doing what she's told. But I think she's the one that's going to pay the price for some of this stuff.
I think you're right.
By the by, also, just one other thing to do with that sort of stuff, since we're off the beaten path here already and whatnot. The report that came out that the Supreme Court could not find the leaker
Oh, yeah.
of the preliminary report on the abortion.
Yeah, Roe versus Wade.
Yeah, Roe v. Wade. And so, are you surprised that the Supreme Court couldn't find out anything?
No.
No. Because they're the wrong people to be doing this.
That's right. They have no expertise in that kind of
None
investigation.
whatsoever. So who do you suppose they appointed to do this? Do you think they got the FBI in to do it?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Do you think they got Secret Service in
No.
to do it? Do you think they got some other black
No,
whole group that we
I
don't
think they
even
got
know
their
about?
own sergeant at arms, some old geezer older than you and I that sits on a chair back there and sleeps while this thing is going on. He got in charge of it.
Yep. Or some former law clerk.
That's
of
another one, yeah.
One of the guys that's really got some pull on the court. Why don't we appoint Dwayne? He worked for me for 11 years, and boy, he's a squared away guy.
What you hear up front with the outrage and what's really going on is always two different things.
Yeah. Now, do you think that they will actually now, the Congress, force the Supreme Court's hand and launch their own investigation, one with teeth into this? You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I think it may happen, but I think the teeth of that dog are going to be pulled.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You
have to be careful as a politician.
You don't embarrass someone.
That's right. Well, what you start and where it might lead. You know, a trial lawyer is never to ask a witness a question that he doesn't know the answer to before he asks
right.
it. Because you don't know where that's going to go. And I think these investigations are the same way. You know, you might stand up there and be outraged at the other side's activities, but you don't want to dig too deep because all of a sudden that's going to swing around And guess
Bite
what?
you right in the backside.
Yeah, your side's in there too.
Sure. It's a dirty business.
Oh,
politics.
it's incredible. Dirty is a word that you can use it. It doesn't mean that they're dirty, but they're not ethical. They're tainted. It's
Tainted is a good word. Devious.
Oh yeah. Self-fulfilling.
Yeah.
Self-serving.
Greedy.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, it all goes back to, again, why do people run for office?
Oh,
Power.
Makes no sense. You get an office holder that pays $200,000 a year, and you spend $20 million to get it.
Yep.
That's not good. That's not good economics.
Power,
Yep.
sex,
Fame.
and money.
Yeah. Exactly.
Those are the three beauties
Yep.
right there. So when you're listening to a politician, and you're right, why would somebody spend half of the money that he has invested, work his tail off, get a committee up, go begging for money from this guy, that guy, make all kinds of promises to get elected, and not cash in?
There's something there.
Every one of them, right on their desk is a cash register.
Yep.
And power.
Yeah, exactly.
They love the power. I have the power to nail you.
Yep.
Don't you
And
dare
it's not
cross.
just national politics. It goes right on down.
Right on down to the bottom
Yep.
level. Yep. Absolutely. And I don't know. I've heard this over and over, that quotation, that sex also enters into this, that, well, it improves my chances kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was one of the things you looked for in a security investigation.
Yeah.
Was sexual activity.
Yep.
In fact, that was one of the majors.
Yeah. Well, J. Edgar Hoover.
Yep.
That's all he lived for. Let's find out about what this guy does. That guy.
You couldn't get a security clearance if you were homosexual
Yeah.
back in the '60s.
Yeah.
You could not.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were considered a security risk.
That's
Because
exactly
you
right.
weren't out public with it. You were secret about it. If somebody found out, you could be blackmailed.
That's exactly right. You were very blackmailable.
They didn't care much about there was no morality judgment. It was the fact that how susceptible are you, 15
blackmail.
Bill, 15. How susceptible are you to blackmail? That was always one thing that they were concerned about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Little news flash this morning. That Senator Warner, Democrat, and Senator Cotton, Republican,
Yep.
issued a joint little press conference, I guess. And they said, we're ready to shut down the Senate if we don't get the documents that were found in Biden's possession. Now they're both on the Intelligence Committee. And they said, we're going to shut down the Senate. Now, exactly what that all means,
I'm not sure.
know. But they are serious about getting the documents that Biden possesses. They want to know what it is. Now, why do you think that would be, Dwayne?
Let's see. I had some ideas that the whole thing about who has what documents and how long they had them, etc., seemed to me for a while got to be an aha moment. Aha, I gotcha. Not the documents themselves, but I got you. I made you look bad, or you do this. Then the other guy says, aha, and now I got you. And I think they'd lost track.
Let me rephrase my poor question by saying, I have witnessed a sea change in the way the press and the television media, the internet, I have noticed a big change in the way they are treating the president. The gloves are off.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they
that's
are,
true.
in some cases,
Yeah.
I won't say using them for a punching bag, but boy, I'll tell you what, it is. They are not bowing and scraping.
Yeah, one of them said
him.
that the honeymoon's coming to a close.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I believe there is a bunch in the Democratic Party that
Oh, yeah.
have said, here's something we can nail him on.
Oh, yeah.
Because we do not want him running in 2024.
You're going to see the same interpower plays that you see in the intra-power plays. There are groups within the Republicans and groups within the Democrat themselves that are trying to turn it over.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Positively.
And the closer
right.
it gets to 2024, the more renowned, the bolder they're going to get,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
the more you're going to hear about them.
CNN
Yep.
now is actually questioning his judgment.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what happened here? Well, I think it's behind closed doors.
Yep.
The quarterback has called the team together for a huddle and said, we're going to have to change the game
Yeah.
plan
Oh, yeah.
because we cannot ride, his coattails in because he's going to be very difficult to elect.
Yep. Oh, yeah. The Democrats themselves and the left wing, well, I shouldn't say left or right, I don't like that. The
Liberal wing, left wing.
the ones that
no,
would
all right.
tend to support a Democrat or as it tends to both support a Republican.
Okay, so
They're kind of starting to, the teeth have gotten duller. I mean, they're not so, they were adamant for a while there. You could say one and then that's fake. You wouldn't even consider it. This one say something, well, that's ridiculous. They wouldn't even consider it. Now they're going, yeah, we should start looking at some of this stuff. And Democrats are not, for the most part, a lot of them, are not comfortable with Joe Biden.
right.
And just like Mr. Trump's power has eroded a lot, and it's doing it fast. I see in the paper today, it was yesterday, the evangelicals
Yes.
are no longer in his camp. Some of those, even the Graham, the son of the Billy Graham and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
They said, no, we
Yeah.
got. One of them said, we got to turn the page with this guy. He's,
The bloom is off the rose
Yeah.
with Trump also. You see, I think both parties have said the front runners really stink.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I think the American public is doesn't want to accept those two
Yes.
being the candidate again.
Guess what? Another little news flash this morning. The approval rating of Congress,
Yeah, oh yeah.
7%.
After that fiasco with the speaker,
Yeah,
oh my God.
7%.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That should have been embarrassing for both sides. I mean, I don't care who it is, that they can't clean up their own house. How in the hell are you going to run a country of 333 million people and you can't elect a speaker without all these little things going on? And then to stand up there and say, well, this is the way the founders of our country wanted it. Oh, baloney.
Baloney is right. I mean, you know, I get a kick out of politicians. They are shameless.
Oh,
I mean, absolutely shameless. Our new queen, Governor Healy, did you see her marching down the aisle, regal, all dressed in a white? She looked very stylish and
Oh, yeah.
everything, but she looked like Queen Elizabeth walking down the aisle. And can you imagine? She's now governor of the state of Massachusetts.
right.
What has she accomplished? She got herself elected.
Yeah.
That's it. After that, she's got now to take responsibility for the mess that is the MBTA.
Yep.
How about the roads, the traffic?
Yep.
How about crime?
Oh, the whole gauntlet.
I mean, we have got problems. How about our school systems?
Yep.
And I'll be charitable when I say this. I don't think she's got a clue about how to govern.
No, she doesn't.
And we're in bad shape there. How about Boston? Michelle Wu.
Same thing.
She's wandering about and talking like Alice in Wonderland. Oh, well, yeah, this has got to change. Great.
Yeah,
As the bodies are lined up on the sidewalk.
That's right.
This is unacceptable.
Yep.
What are you going to do about it?
That's right.
Yeah. And they're our leaders.
That's right.
Boy, I'll tell you.
It gets embarrassing after a while.
It is. It is. You know, I traveled around the country, as you did. And whenever I walked into a guy's office, they're down south too, they're beautiful. Massachusetts. Yeah, just a little dig.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he said, you one of them nuts from Massachusetts? I said, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
I said, I'm one of the last Republicans left alive.
There's 12 of us.
Yeah.
Well, what's 12? One died. Now we're 11.
We're not respected around the country.
We're not. We're laughed at.
We've
been laughed at for a long time.
Massachusetts.
But we don't see that.
California.
Yep.
And then to a lesser, New York.
Yep.
And to a lesser degree, Illinois.
Yeah, they were
only
doing
because they just, I don't know, kind of, no, not quite as public with their, well, they are. They've got a mess out there too. But it's amazing that these people get elected and are clueless. Well, we're going to, my first job here, my first act is to appoint a committee to, oh, gee whiz, that's just, that's perfect.
Yeah,
I mean, let's get a committee. Committees really work well.
Oh, absolutely.
7 people from 7 different backgrounds with 7 different ideas sitting around not knowing what the hell they're talking about. That's beautiful. Instead of hiring a strong, proven individual to say, now hear this. We're calling in the Chinese company that's building these vehicles for the MBTA and saying, what do you mean you're going to be 3 years late on them?
That's right.
Don't they have contingency clauses where they can fine them for all of that sort of thing?
Nothing that works. That whole thing again went back to what we said about getting elected. And why would you run for that office? Yeah. Why would you be so adamant about getting it? Because a lot of pockets got filled with that contract.
Power, sex, and money.
Yep.
That's
exactly.
it.
That's it.
Just take a look at them, and there's the answers, and it bubbles right to the surface.
Nobody in their right mind would have awarded a contract to a company, regardless of what country they came from, that had never built a train car.
Why didn't they get Bangladesh involved?
Yeah, exactly.
Or some really backward country?
Yep, exactly.
I mean, but to hire a Chinese outfit that had never built these things before, and to start a factory up in Western Massachusetts, gee, there's a recipe for success, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I got one more thing to rave about.
Yeah.
This is a sickening article. GOP 2024 rivals seek to dim DeSantis' glow.
Okay.
So we've got Republicans now shooting at the front runner, DeSantis.
Well, we just brought up the same thing we were talking about. There's turmoil within the ranks.
I mean, why? I mean, that's like, I don't know. it's just incredible that you've got a success story here. A guy that looks like he got his act together that could win the White House back.
Yeah, somebody's going to show some leadership
Yeah,
all of a
so
sudden.
let's saw him off at the knees and bring him back down to size and straighten him out. You know, he's doing a pretty good job of keeping himself straightened out and keeping Florida straightened out.
Yeah. We've got to, I don't know, I was going to say we, but I'm using a term that I probably shouldn't use. Something's happening, and I think it goes back to the three factors again, because things that should not be allowed to be happening that they are. As intelligent people, we should never, ever, how in the hell did George Santos get elected? And a day doesn't go by, some more stuff keeps coming out. I mean, you know, and he won't, he just, I'll have an answer for you in a couple of days. And week to week. I'll have an answer for you in a couple of days. He's not got it. He hasn't any
Working
answer.
on that.
Working on that,
Yeah, that's a good one, too. Sort of like confidential and miscellaneous.
And then, you know, instead of just throwing it out, they start giving him seats on committees.
I got two more things that have just totally ripped me up. And we'll start with these two, and then we're gonna delve into your book.
Did you, just before we're going out, see last Saturday the eulogy for that woman called Dorothy in silk?
No.
If you didn't, you missed another embarrassing moment.
Really?
Those two are the two black women that always showed up with Trump. They're heavy set.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, one died.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of
And
that.
they asked Trump to do the eulogy Saturday. I mean, they should never let that man on the stage again.
Really?
I'll tell you when we come back.
Okay. Well,
Both,
folks, see, we'll get some really good stuff in the second half of the show. So go and do your in-between show stuff. Take a break. Get another couple of cans of beer.
and bring some popcorn.
And some popcorn, too. Yeah. And we'll be right back.
All right.